Stick your oil onto heat, a medium setting. In the school kitchen you should probably use a saucepan for this because you'll need your frying pan for something else later in the recipe. Remember how to dice an onion? For this recipe we need to cut it up really fine. We don't want any big chunks. So remember, you've got to peel it first. Now cut it lengthwise first. Keep your cuts nice and close together, but do not cut through the root. Now make a couple of cuts horizontally. Don't cut the tips off your fingers. And then fine cuts like this to dice it. Right, with your garlic, chop the tail end off the clove, crush it, that loosens the skin, easy. And then you can just chop this up nice and fine as well. Alright, you need to make sure your oil's the right temperature. You can get an idea of that by sort of seeing how easily it flows around the pan, or just by throwing in a little bit of onion, and based off the sound, that sounds like it's hot enough to me. So that's just the garlic and onion, and you just want to cook that until it's soft. Probably should take about 5 minutes. You're not trying to cook at a high heat here, just cooking it gently until the onion starts to go a bit translucent. Okay, that's probably ready for the mince. You just want to break up the mince, you don't want any big chunks. And cook this until the mince is brown all the way through. Okay, at this stage I'm going to add my cumin and my chili flakes. This is a chili grinder. It's just got whole dried chilies in it. But if you just got powdered chili, that's totally good as well. Just going to cook that for a couple more minutes, and then that part's basically done. Alright, cheese time. So at school you probably get pre-grated mozzarella given to you, but this is what the fresh stuff looks like. This is feta. Now there's lots of different types of feta, and some of it is more crumbly than other types. So this stuff's really crumbly, so I'm not going to do anything with it until I'm ready to add it. But if yours is softer or creamier, you might want to cut it up a bit first. It'll make it easier to deal with later. Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm going to put the feta through the grater as well. Okay, so you should have enough ingredients here to do 4 of these wraps. So make sure you think about that when you're dividing up the ingredients. You don't want to overload the first ones and then run out, or vice versa. So we're going to spread out the mince mixture onto half of each one of the wraps. I'm going to stick on my baby spinach. And I'm just going to brush a little bit of water onto the other half. And finally the cheese. The more evenly you do that, the better it'll be. Alright, this pan should be at a medium heat. The recipe calls for spray oil. I don't have spray oil, so I'm just using a little bit of olive oil. Spread it out nice and evenly. Just using a bit of paper towel to spread it out there. Might be a smarter way to do that you can think of. Bring your wrap over. So we're trying to brown the wrap and melt the cheese. While this is cooking, keep a little bit of pressure on it to help the heat work its way through, and just get under it occasionally to make sure it's not sticking to the pan. Alright, I reckon that's probably ready to flip. There's still oil on this side of the pan, so I'm just going to turn it around like this, so that when I flip it, it'll flip over onto the section that's still got a bit of oil on it. That looks good, nice and crispy. And that's how that turns out when it's done. Enjoy.